I want to talk about the importance of little bets and testing small and scaling big. And this is really, really critical, because what this does is it just lowers your risk in the whole process so much. For instance, once I had a client and they felt so confident in their ad that it would work that they placed it was around about a $40,000 ad in one of the major news publications. It was one of the major magazine publications. So they dropped $40,000 on it, and as you might have guessed, it didn't work. So they'd blown pretty much their whole advertising budget on one shot, basically on one marketing piece. So that's a very dangerous thing to do, because it costs you in a big way, in a major way. So the important thing here is with everything that you're doing is test small. Test small. So if you can test it for a few $100s, why would you spend thousands and thousands of dollars when you can get the same testing result for a few $100s? And then if it does work, you can scale that out on a much larger, on a far larger scale. So I think that's really important. And I guess that there's really two sort of overall rules here. One is test small, and one is test fast. There's a really good book called The Lean Startup, and it talks about this concept and the importance of getting these learnings and getting them very, very quickly. So, for example, there might be some people who will obsess about an advertising campaign for 6 months, trying to get that advertising campaign just perfect. So getting it, obsessing over it, making sure they've got their ad just right, etc., etc., etc. And then when they run their ad, it might work or it might not, but it's taking them a lot of time to get that feedback. What we want to do is we want to speed up the feedback loops. So at the same time as this company, so you've got company one, company A, they've taken 6 months to run that ad and get a certain result. So now company B runs their business differently. What they do is they get the ads out there super fast. So they're all about speed. And so instead of doing that, what they're doing is they're running one campaign a week. So they're going, okay, let's throw up a landing page online, and let's direct some AdWords to it. Let's throw a few $100s on AdWords. Let's throw a little bit of money on Facebook news feeds to it, and let's check. Let's do 3 different variations of each landing page and some variation of the ad. So all of a sudden, within 1 week, we've tested 6 things. So 6 things we've tested in 1 week. Now, and that's all. They do that in the first week. Okay, so that's week 1. Okay, week 2, I think we're going to test some fact streaming. So what they do is they create 3 different faxes, okay, and they might test it to a couple of different target markets, and all of a sudden they've tested another 6 variations in week 2. The next week they decide to do newspapers, and they run an ad in 3 different newspapers, and they look at which one works best. The next week they go for direct mail, and they run 3 variations of letters to 3 different groups of so 3 different variations of letters, or it could be to the same one, or maybe to 2 different target markets. So once again, we've got 6 variations. So within a month, and you keep going with this. Within a month, as you can see, we've tested literally 24 things. Now the interesting thing is we're doing all these at minimum cost. So with each test, we're keeping it down to the lowest possible cost. So let's say it's $500 per test. It might be $1,000, it might be $2,000, depending on your budget. At $500, so you've tested 24 things within a month for, let's say, $2,000 that you've done there. So now you're testing as company B. You're testing 24 things in a month. 24 times 6 is 120, is 144 different marketing variations in exactly the same time period. You've got company A, which has tested one thing. So what you've done is you've managed to test 144 things when the first company has tested one thing. Now, what does this allow you to do? This is incredible power, because who do you think has the best odds? The guy placing one bet of winning, or the guy placing 144 bets? I mean, the odds are, it doesn't matter if the first guy is an absolute genius. The guy who's placing 144 bets in the same period of time has the best odds of winning. So don't focus on perfection, focus on speed, and obviously make sure all those little bets are bets that you can afford to place. You're not placing a $10,000 bet if your advertising budget is $1,000. You're placing minimal bets, and you're finding out what works and what doesn't, and then you're leveraging what's working best for you. So that's a really critical thing to do. And what you're looking for also here is, out of those 144 things, in all likelihood, you're going to find maybe 20% of those things that will work reasonably well. So if we look at 144 times 20%, so 144 times 0.2, so you're going to find about 28 things that'll work reasonably well. And then out of those 28 things that work reasonably well, you're going to find that 20% of those work really well. So you've got 5.76 things. So let's say 5 things that work exceptionally. And they're the things you're going to really hone in on and you're going to leverage. So at the end of that 6 months, you've got 5 things that work exceptionally well. 5 advertising strategies that work exceptionally well. So hypothetically, let's imagine that one of those advertising strategies is junk mail. Let's imagine, once again, I'll pull out my phone directory roulette, and I've got fridges. Okay, so let's imagine you're a fridge repair company. So you work out that this particular type of junk mail works exceptionally well for you. And you've got a junk mail piece, you've tested it, you've mailed it out to a couple of thousand people, it's worked really well. Now, what are the bets? And obviously you've got to test it. But odds are, if it works really well in one suburb, what are the odds that the next suburb over, it's probably going to work fairly well as well. And the next suburb over from that, it's probably going to work well. And the next suburb over from that, it's probably going to work well. And the next suburb over from that, it's probably going to work well. Now, there may be some variations. Obviously, different suburbs have different socio-economic conditions, and there's different things which are going to are going to differ. But in a nutshell, what you're going to find is that you can leverage that and you can scale that.
To help you get more customers, I'm giving away a free gift to everyone who watches this video. It's a brand new guide called 7 Ways to Get More Traffic and Customers, which includes a swag of cheat sheets for getting results fast. Download it for free by clicking the link in the description below this video or visiting moretrafficandcustomers.com.